That's the local impacts. That, at least for now, even though we're in the cone. Remember, we expected to eventually be in the cone. So please don't use the fact that we're in the cone thinking, oh, suddenly the forecast has changed. It hasn't. Certainly there have been some minor adjustments, and no doubt about it, those minor adjustments over 5 days will add up to a big deal. It may add up to a bad big deal as far as impacting us, or it could be good. Here's a little bit of meteorology, because I've been talking about this since last week, and I just think maybe it helps make sense as we go through this process. We talked last week that there's all kind of things us meteorologists can be talking about, but if you want to know what the canary in the coal mine, or maybe the canary that hasn't gotten in the coal mine yet is, it's the cold front. And this cold front was over Canada last week. And this was while Irma was over 3,000 miles away. But we really knew that this is the surface reflection of what would eventually cause Irma, instead of moving westward, which is what Irma has done for days and days, and will do for about another 3 to 4 days. What's going to cause Irma to turn? This front here. And the front now is approaching us. That's where we had some showers today. We're going to have some strong thunderstorms. What's going to cause Irma to then race to the north and eventually to the northeast? That's this front. That's a more subtle feature out there, and that's why the computer models are having a harder time with it. The front initially is going to be our friend. As long as this front is between us, and we're just now beginning to see it now as we head toward Thursday, between us and Irma, we're good. We're still going to have a wet, windy nor'easter. But as long as this is between us and Irma, that would keep the eye wall from coming ashore. But that's the big question, because the front's going to stall at about central Florida. And as Irma approaches, so the computer model should be showing, it's right behind the time and temperature there, but I think you can see that's Irma. And here comes Irma working toward the west. So the front's going to stall as Irma heads eventually toward the Florida Straits. And then it's going to be pulled toward the north. All right, you hear about the spaghetti models. We'll continue to show you the spaghetti models. I like to only show you the best. There's a lot of spaghetti models being shared out there. Here's just 2 spaghetti models that I don't share, and here's why. There was a model that's been used since the 70s, and in the 70s it worked. It was a model that was simply based on the idea, okay, what other hurricanes have been in this position, and where did they go? Some people are still showing that model. That used to be good science. It's not good science anymore. There's another model out there. It's called the BAM model, and it is specifically just for tropical depressions, and by the way, that's an acronym. Tropical depressions and tropical storms, and that's because they move along on what the very shallow winds are at about 5 to 10,000 feet. I notice that some individuals are showing that. This is not a shallow storm. This is what we call vertically stacked, goes to 30,000 feet. So that model is just not valid to use. In some cases they are. In this one it's not. So I'm just showing you what I think are the best, because I think if we start to see some major differences in the best models, I think that really helps us decide, as opposed to all those other models. I think just adds to a already stressful situation. Okay, so here are some of the best. Notice incredible agreement that at 4 days they make the turn to the north and then head toward the north. Some continue to pull off to the northeast, some pull it back toward Georgia and South Carolina. So again, a very close call, and in that way reminds me of Floyd. We're just about ready to wrap it up. I do want to show you what I think is still the best model. It's the European model. Not saying that this is going to be written in stone, but make sure, if you're a person that likes to be your own forecaster, look at the European model and look at the European model does. Brings it up to the east of us after hitting hard South Florida, and then in some form or fashion heads up maybe the Savannah River Valley. That would be bad for us, would not be catastrophic. I'd rather see it completely go off to the northeast. And with that said, there is the hurricane that, by the way, went right over some of those islands last night. One more bit of relatively good news. So the very worst of the weather is right there on the eye wall, and this is moving west-northwestward. I know there's a lot of those of you out there that have family and friends in Puerto Rico. No doubt about it, Puerto Rico is going to be hit very hard. But as far as catastrophic, that's right there, and as long as that continues to move along, catastrophic may stay just north of the north coast of Puerto Rico. Okay, we will have updates, well, right on through probably next Monday and Tuesday. But